One of the hardest things to get used to as you get older is the fact that everything takes so damn long to get improvement. It takes a lot of extra hours, just even to get going, get started. So that can be quite demoralizing, especially if you're unfortunately in the habit of comparing yourself to your younger self, to that person that probably got fit reasonably easily, mightn't have probably had very healthy habits, and yet those things didn't necessarily hold you back. So one of the hardest things I find is that slow progress. The important thing to remember is it can still be progress. So one of the first things to remember is, as always, consistency is king. There's nothing that can replace that consistency, no matter how much you think about it, no matter how much you want it. Consistency is literally everything. So that's the biggest thing to do. It doesn't matter if it's your best run, your worst run, best time, your worst time, something you've had to be flexible with, something you've had to adjust. The fact that you did something is still a lot better than not having done anything. Is this just the nicest time of the day to go for your run? Sun's just about to start coming up. Lovely cool air, especially as we come towards summer. There was saying in my sport that go hard or go home. And when you're getting older, sometimes that can really beat you up, because it really is like that first statement, being consistency. So going hard isn't necessarily best friend, because if your recovery is really long, you're really sore, you're put off by it, then you don't tend to do again the next day or after your rest day. And so one of those thoughts from your younger self of go hard or go home definitely doesn't apply, and probably shouldn't apply. There are times when you want to extend yourself, there are times when you really want to push yourself, but think of every session as go hard or go home in a mantra to make yourself do it. Sometimes it should be show up, be gentle, make sure you can tick the box, and that's actually much more beneficial than a simple, blatant go hard or go home. Some of those things that we have from our younger self don't apply to us when we get older, because that's no longer the body we have. The body we have has got to be held together sometimes with duct tape until it gets strong enough to be able to do things. So be careful what you're saying to yourself about your workout sessions. So think of the next one as a total contradiction in itself, because you contradict yourself so many times. Listen to your body. Now this is partly true, listen to your body, but then partly where actually don't listen too much. Don't listen to the niggles, the little tiny twinges, oh god, this is hard work. It's that really weird thing of be in touch with your body, but don't be overwhelmed by it. Don't let the noise get out of hand. Stay in the overall, big picture. What am I trying to do here? And in saying that, do I trust the program I'm doing? Do I adjust the program? It's sometimes really easy for someone to set a program that's a bit much and not necessarily very repeatable. And so that's sometimes just finding out where you're at. Like if you're finding you keep dropping out or you keep not wanting to do it. The possibility is you try and do a bit too much. So then it's discussion with you and whoever's writing your program or you're doing the program, making sure this program is set, for the long term. It's not there to do 1 week, burn you out, and that's last to see you. So listening to your body, but also trust your program. And trusting your program comes with that real underlying, everyone's got my best interest at heart. There'll always be times where it's a bit tough. But is this a bit tough and making it better? Or is this a bit tough and breaking me down? So listen to your body and then contradict yourself and only listen a little bit. Because, if we are too empathetic with our body, we sometimes get drowned out by that white noise. So it's a balancing act. Listening to your body, but also, what do I need to do here? What's important? Why am I doing this? So if you know a session you've got is supposed to be tough and it's supposed to make you feel a bit achy, that's all well and good. If after 3 days you haven't recovered from something that you thought should be easy and it's still quite twingy and sore, then that's time sometimes to either rest for a little bit longer or halve the next 2 sessions or make an adjustment or even seek medical advice if you've got injuries and sometimes where the body is compensated without realizing. So listen to your body and make sure the volume's not turned up too loud. How much easier is it to run downhill sometimes? So the next one is, don't get bogged down in the matrices. Don't get all caught up sometimes in the numbers. And it's very easy to do because progression isn't linear, and we sometimes have to remind ourselves that sometimes you're going to get where you're actually training off a little bit and then it comes back, or you need to make an adjustment. I always think of training, so the big overall numbers are good to know, but sometimes it's just good to know. Particularly I found for me coming back from a lot of injuries and a lot of parts of my body not functioning very well, measuring wasn't necessarily that healthy for me. I know I'm improving, but it's not necessarily the thing I should be looking at. So I often think of it more in experiences. Like this morning, if you can hear the birds, it's a beautiful sunrise, things like that. The other thing I tend to try and do is see how many smiles I can get out of people coming the other way. If you look, nod, smile at them, and often you get a reaction and a smile back. And that's pretty cool. So if you think of it as experiences, how many smiles, how many little interactions can you have when you're going about this huffing and puffing exercise. So put aside the metrics. Put aside the measurements, the metrics, and sometimes go for the adventure, the experience. So then a really important thing to remind yourself is, why are you doing this? And it's got to hold true. It's got to be something that you actually truly believe. Sometimes we doing something for a superficial reason, that's okay, but if you not really buy into it, then what's the point? So, part of my why is was the overall sense of being healthier, the overall sense of being much more mobile again. There was a few things I wanted to make sure I could do that require me to be mobile and strong. And if I didn't start doing it now, that period closes. As they say, today is the youngest you'll be. Tomorrow you'll be older. And do you want that older self to be struggling as much as you were just before? So, making sure your why is genuine. If it's superficial or not really connecting to you, then you'll find the excuses overwhelm it all the time. And so why isn't everything, but it really helps. So if you find you're constantly stopping, then maybe that why wasn't really why you're doing it. Maybe you need to find something else that lets you help put another little brick in that, yep, I'm going to get this done. And that's why the why is important. How many whys can I say in a sentence without sounding totally ridiculous, which I think I've tipped over that mark. Anyway, connect to your why. It's not everything, but it's another little something that keeps you doing it. Okay, so 2 little things to finish off. One, your brain doesn't have to be present, through your run or through your exercise. If you're someone who likes to listen to podcasts or music, and that carries you away from that pain noise or how hard you're struggling with it, that's perfectly fine. I actually found the other way around. I like hearing myself huff and puff. Not sure if you guys enjoy it, but it actually makes me feel like I'm getting it done. It reminds me of the fact that I'm actually out here doing it. And so the huffing and puffing is a consequence of that. However, the other thing that I then need to remind myself is why I am huffing and puffing. I chose to be out here. I wanted to be out here. And the reason I am out here huffing and puffing is to get fitter, to get more mobile, to do whatever it is I want to do. Instead of the huffing and puffing, feeling like it's a weight that carries me down and I'm not getting any better, it's a sound of me doing the thing. So while the huffing and puffing can be a little off-putting at times, a little, will this ever get better? But I prefer to hear that sound than I didn't hear it on the day I was supposed to be running. So really connecting to, why you're doing something, as we said before. But then you're out here, hopefully enjoying some of these moments. Anytime you're outside is often a good thing. And you're doing something good overall for yourself. And that's the important thing. You're doing it for yourself. So many other things in life, when you've got to your 50s, you've been doing for other people. And so it's saying yes again to giving back to yourself, even though the yes feels sometimes like a really dumb idea. Anyway, hope all these little thoughts help you stay consistent on your run, be a little less harsh on yourself for the fact that progress seems really slow, and sometimes it doesn't seem like any progress at all. Sometimes you feel like you're training off, but you will get there. Really zoom out to the big picture and remember to be kind to yourself. Take care. Leave me a comment if any of those things really resonate with you. Hopefully subscribe to the channel if you got this far, and I really appreciate you watching and letting this old man mull over some thoughts as he goes for his run and why he does it. So take care, do your best, and I'll see you in the next video.